Disclaimer: as this video is the entire book of To Kill a Mockingbird in 4 minutes, there will be spoilers, so enjoy. To Kill a Mockingbird in 4 minutes. Ready, set, go. Chapter 1, we meet a few main characters such as Scout, Jem, and Dill. There's also something about Jem breaking his arm, but that doesn't matter. Scout then goes to 1st grade for the first time. Woo! Her new teacher, Miss Caroline, is a rude, controlling woman that nobody likes. Scout then beats up a kid at school named Walter Cunningham Jr., then was all like, hey, you wanna come have dinner with us? And Walter was all like, sure, I guess. After school, Scout and Jeb walk home and see a shiny piece of tinfoil in the knothole of a tree. Scout grabs it, eats the gum inside, and then spits it out immediately after Jem was all like, you might be poison, you dummy. Once it arrives, Dill's back, and they all have a fantastic time rolling around inside a tire that Scout gets into and rolls right into the Radley's yard. Scout then feels like a third wheel because Jem and Dill are such good buddies and starts hanging out with Miss Maudie. With Miss Maudie, she learns that Boo Radley's real name is actually Arthur, and he's not actually a crazy person, he just likes to be alone. All three of them also start playing the Boo Radley game, where they all act as different members of the Radley family and act out different scenes. Later, Jem and Dill write a sneaky little note to Boo Radley that they're gonna give to him with a fishing rod. Atticus catches them in action, trying to give Boo Radley the note and tells them to stop doing that and stop playing the Boo Radley game. School's back in session, and on their way home, Scout and Jem look in the knothole once again and find a ball of gray twine. A month or so passes, and they, once again, check the knothole to find more gifts. This time, there are 2 soap figures, some more chewing gum, a spelling bee medal, and an old pocket watch. The very next day, Mr. Nathan Radley, Boo's brother, fills the hole with cement. Winter comes along, and they're sewing Maycomb for the first time in ages. And in the middle of the night, Miss Maudie's house burns down, but she doesn't care. At school, Scout almost gets in a fight with a kid named Cecil Jacobs, but controls herself not to. A few months later, at Christmas time, their Uncle Jack visits, and her cousin Francis was being a twit, and everybody hates his stupid face. Scout starts to think that Atticus, her father, is a boring old man and can't do anything. Then boom! He's forced to shoot a rabid dog named Tim Johnson. Jim gets so ticked off at a mean old grouch named Mrs. DeBose for smack-talking his father that he destroys her camellia bushes. As a punishment for his rude behavior, Jem must read to her every day after school. Mrs. Bose then dies. Continue on to part 2, chapter 12. Calpurnia brings both Jem and Scout to her quote-unquote colored church, and their aunt Alexandra moves into their house to teach Scout how to be a lady. Skipping over chapter 13 as it is not essential to the plot. Chapter 14, Aunt Alexandra tries to get rid of Calpurnia because Alexandra is an absolute jerk, and Dill ends up underneath Scout's bed. Dill apparently ran away from his newfound home because his mother and father quote-unquote didn't pay enough attention to him. Atticus sneaks out of the house, gets in the car, and goes downtown for some mysterious reason. Jem, Dill, and Scout, being young, curious children, follow Atticus. They notice that he's Jay chilling in front of the Maycomb jail. 4 cars drive up to Atticus, and men get out of it and surround him. When, all of a sudden, Scout jumps out in the middle of the circle and recognizes Mr. Cunningham's, this guy's father. She's all like, hey, Mr. Cunningham, and then they all freak out and leave. The Tom Robertson trial starts, and everybody from all over the county is there to spectate. A trial takes place. Bob Buell's a rooster. His daughter, Mayella, cries a few times, and Tom Robertson can't use his left hand. Because of all the yelling and everyone being rude to one another, Dill starts crying and runs out of the building with Scout. Someone named Mr. Dolphus Raymond offers Dill some Coca-Cola to cheer him up. Both Scout and Dill will go back into the courthouse as Atticus is making his final remarks, proving that Bob Buell beat Mayella and not Tom Robertson. Atticus finds out that Jem, Scout, and Dill were upstairs in the colored folk balcony the entire time. He sends them all home to eat dinner, but says they can come back once they finish all their supper. Unfortunately, Tom Robertson is proven guilty for raping Mayella and gets sent to jail. Bob Buell threatens Atticus, to which Atticus responds with doing nothing, keeping his cool like nothing's gonna happen to him. Meanwhile, Tom Robertson has been sent to a different prison about 70 miles away from Maycomb. While there, Tom Robertson tries to escape and gets shot 17 times. Calpurnia and Atticus go to the Negro settlement just out of town to break the news to Helen, Tom's wife, that her husband has been shot and killed. Bob later proceeds to stalk Helen and swearing at her from a distance when Mr. Linktease comes in and all like, if you torment Helen anymore, you're dead. Scout has to dress up like a ham for a school Halloween pageant / plaything. On their way there, Jem and Scout gets jump scared by their classmate Cecil Jacobs. Scout does her plaything dressed up as a ham, and they both head home. On their way home, they hear a sound following them. They think it's Cecil Jacobs again trying to scare them. It ends up being Bob Buell, and he jumps them, knocking Scout on the ground, and Jem tries to fight him. Out of nowhere, a mysterious man comes out and attacks, and presumably kills Bob Buell. The mysterious man carries home Jem, and Scout follows close behind. Once they get home, Aunt Alexandra calls Dr. Reynolds. Atticus calls Hecate to investigate, and Dr. Reynolds informs that Jem is fine, but he has a broken arm. Again! We learn that the mysterious man who saved both Jem and Scout was Boo Radley. Boo was all like to Scout, would you please walk me home? And Scout was all like, sure, I guess. Scout watches Boo Radley walk into his humble abode, not knowing that she would never see him again. And this concludes To Kill a Mockingbird in 4 minutes.